What is up? RuneScape.com is your boy Jagex here with another video where we're going to talk about the GE tax. Because if you have not been sleeping under a rock, the GE tax has doubled. So I want to talk about today the GE tax, my thoughts on it, the effects on the market, what it means for traders, you know, my people, my newbie traders, whatever, you know, the people who come to talk to me, whatever. I want to give you my takes and just tell you what this means for us going forward. So the short answer is, if you're a new trader and you're risk averse, which means you don't like risk, which I think you should be if you're a new trader, just stay away from the market. Don't do any, like, be doubly scared of the market. Stay on non-tax items, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Still stay under 200 GP. Not a big deal. Those margins will be harder to find now because the tax is doubled, but they still exist. So whatever, we just got to deal with it. But like, stay away from the high risk stuff, because what's probably going to happen is a lot of people are going to pull out of a lot of different positions, and they're going to try to scramble to find the new tops and the new bottoms in these positions. So they're going to, the market's going to see a lot of volatility, a lot of item changes over the period of time, or nothing might happen. But we don't know that, because a big change, changes like this is like dropping a bowling ball into a lake. You know, there's a big splash, but then there's a bunch of ripples, and we don't know where everything's going to land. We just don't know where everything's going to land. It's just, there's going to be a bunch of effects that may happen, may not happen. This was a violent change. Yeah, just wait. Just wait. If you're new, just wait. So there we go. Got that out of the way. It's just going to be harder to flip. Flipping was the greatest thing ever to RuneScape ever. It was like literally printing money. You were literally just getting paid to be a little bit more patient than other players. Now you have to do a little bit of math and be a little bit more patient to try to find some good margins. Okay, there we go. So let's start reading. The Grand Exchange Tax. As part of our ongoing commitment to maintaining a healthy in-game economy, we're making a change to the GE tax rate. We understand that any update involving your hard-earned gold can be sensitive, so we want to be fully transparent about the reasons behind this change and how it will affect your gameplay. So, like, it's kind of funny, too. I want to say, like, they snuck this in without permission, you know what I mean? Because, like, they pull a lot of stuff. But, like, it just goes to show how small the flipping community actually is, because this is just how it reads to me. Like, I feel like the flipping community is the smallest community in the game, because like nobody gives like a shit about it, because they wouldn't make an update like this without pulling it or something. Without, I don't know, that's just kind of how I feel. They pull everything else, they wouldn't pull this, and that tells me because they didn't pull it, that they realize that there's not enough players in the game to give a shit about it, so just pour us, I guess. But it's just whatever. So why change the GE tax rate? The amount of GP entering the game has steadily increased over the years, but our systems for removing that GP, known as money sinks, haven't kept pace. A change like increasing the GE tax is a meaningful step towards restoring economic balance, helping to curb inflation and preserve the value of your wealth. So what this means is they have power creep so much shit into the game that now they are going to increase taxes to try to combat that gold, that huge amount of inflation, because they keep releasing all these new contents. The new content, new PVM content, always comes with a new item that's a super powerful, a new super weapon, a new super power armor, some new crazy method that allows you to do XYZ 10 times faster. But we live in a limited system where we only have 99 skill, but level 80 gear to level 81 gear, that one level difference, that level 81 piece of gear is probably like in power scale of like a level 120 item, but because everything is within a 99 level limit, this everything that comes out is like so easy to attain skill wise, but is so it's just so easy. Everything's so easy, so like they have these massive power spikes, and everybody's already got the levels to like use that equipment as it comes out. You know what I mean? Like when RuneScape was first a game, when we were kids or whatever, like the best thing at one time was Rune, and they had like all this room. Like 40 to 99 was an insane amount of experience, so there's a ton of room to put gear and progress gear up that ladder, because you know 40 to 50 is okay, but 50 to 60, but then as that scales up, then it gets harder and harder to level up. But now like we have all these methods, all these things, all that other stuff all these like leveling methods, training methods, new XP multiplier gears, all this crazy stuff that just makes leveling to 99 easy. So like now all these new updates, we need novelty, we need increases, we need progression in stuff. It's just going to extremely exponentially increase the amount of power level that comes into the game, but everybody just has so easy access to it, so then it just makes everything else easier to farm, and then that stuff just like explodes the amount of GP that comes into the game. But then I don't see any updates very often that take money out of the game. I mean, you could be having like crazy low drop chances. I don't know. Well, I'll get to that later. Let's just continue the article. I don't want to like keep rambling on one thing. I have a presentation that are my solutions and thoughts about how we can fix inflation, but I want to talk about the taxes first. So, the goal here is to punish trade, but to ensure old school continues to have a vibrant and sustainable economy for years to come. Sorry. I mean, no offense to you guys, but I don't think the economy has really been very stable. You have, whatever. It's not good. Increasing the GE tax is one of the most effective ways we can do that. Correct. It is. It sucks, but it's true. It is one of the most effective ways to take money out of the game. Everybody is using the GE millions and millions and billions times a day. I'd reckon like crazy amounts of numbers, like crazy amount of numbers. So here's what's changing. The GE exchange tax will rise from 1 to 2%. Blah, blah, blah. All items under 50 GP will not be taxed since 2% of those values round down to less than 1 coin. So we have a smaller market of taxless market now. Tax cap of 5 million coins remains in place for the high value trades. Existing offers will still be the same or not taxed at all. Fairness, blah, blah, blah. Newly created offers after the update goes live will see 2%. So now they have an improvement to item sinks. Alongside the tax rate change, we've also taken the chance to give the item sync system a bit of a cleanup. In case you're not familiar, what they do is they'll use portions of the GE tax gold to pull items out of the game as well. I don't know how I feel about this. Like, it's an interesting thought, but I don't know. I don't understand. Like, I'm conflicted. Like, why it needs to be. Why can't they? Oh, no, because that would inject more GP. Okay, so it has to be balanced. But okay, but I just don't know how I feel about this. It's probably good. It's probably good for the game, but whatever. So now they have a bunch of different mechanics they're going to do, like Fang, Lightbearer, Arcane Prayer Scroll, Dexys Scroll, all this other stuff. And then they're removing this stuff. They've also made some low value and early game utility items fully exempt from the GE tax. This includes things like low tier food, energy potions, teleport tabs, early game ammo, and mine runes. Oh, thank you so much for not taxing mine runes. These items are useful for newer, lower level players, and taxing them didn't really sink much gold, but it did make the early game just a little bit less friendly, so we cleaned that up. So what they should do is take away the tax on fucking chaos runes, please. That'd be amazing. But anyway, at the end of the day, this isn't just about numbers. It's about keeping the old school economy healthy so your GP stays valuable and prices stay fair. We'll be monitoring these changes closely, and as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So here are my thoughts. Ready? Boom. Oh, I'm gonna have to cut that. Boom! Gold sync ideas. So my first one is that our main currency should be capped because the fiat system is literally destroying the world. Whoa! And I know there's a bunch of arguments to be made. A bunch of people, like I have friends that that love the fiat system and think it's the most amazing thing ever, and think that the centralized authority should just be able to debase any currency at a whim. And I'm not saying that RuneScape is a fiat currency. It is a indirect fiat because Jagex makes the drop tables, so they are effectively controlling the rate of inflation. But they could like Yama came out, right? And then like something about, I don't know, it caused so many crashes in like the elk market and stuff like that. They just like put on these bosses have these elk drop tables constantly, so they drop. This one drops rune chain bodies and rune plate legs and all this other shit, like crazy rates, battle stabs, stuff like that. Just the drop tables literally bring so much gold into the game. I remember back when that like Bandos, from what I can remember, I could be wrong here. I didn't camp Bandos too much when it first came out or whatever, but like it didn't have that good of drops. Why you wanted it was for the armor, the rares, but it didn't have crazy high drop rates for other stuff. So like it increases. There's just so many activities that just magically bring GP into the game. And I've talked to some buddies, and high alchemy is one of the main things that brings GP into the game, or can bring GP into the game. There's monsters with like coin drops and all that other stuff too, but like the currency should be capped. I know that sounds kind of impossible, but like that would be the only way to stop inflation. Or like in another way of saying this would be like, stop having the new monsters drop so much gold just because somebody killed it once or whatever. Like the rares should be like enough for players to go do. I don't know. I feel like it cheapens the actual drops too if a boss has too high of a drop table. Like you know, the super mega rare drop is 80 mil, but all the other drops are 1 mil or 250k or whatever, you know, just so you can break even on your gear and stuff. I don't think that's like that's nice and all. It makes it kind of easier for players to get into the game, like to get into a piece of content. But it just, like, if you just didn't have all that breaking even from killing the boss, then they would have to go and make money and then go try it again. You know what I mean? Like to go try their luck. Like when the gold rushers dug for gold, they didn't also make most of their money back. You either struck it rich or you didn't get shit. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, that's unfortunate in real life, but for a video game, you can lower the amount that bosses drop, except for rares, so that there's still a huge incentive for players to get that stuff. But you're not just injecting a bunch of other gold into the system. They're not getting rich on the way to getting their rich person item. That would help tremendously. What I would like to see is a gold cap, like how the gold standard in the real life, there's only a finite number of gold, so then it would have a finite value so that we can use gold to actually use it effectively. Because like every day that you play and you're not making money, your bank is losing value, because that's what inflation does. So you're just losing money every second you're not making money because of how out of control the inflation is. So then my second solution here is bring back the dual arena and tax the fuck out of it. Who cares if they real world trade? People still real world trade. Just ban them and fuck them, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares? I can't make a video about whatever without getting somebody in the comments saying that they real world trade or they bot, or every other video, or people coming in the Discord or whatever, or just seeing like Reddit posts and stuff like that. There are so many cheaters in the game. They're gonna keep cheating. Whatever. I mean, like, I understand like there's a moral implication with like dual arena and gambling addicts and stuff like that, but man, it took so much money out of the game. Whatever, man. And like, it was the best money sink ever. It was so much better than the GE. And it personally, just bring it back and it starts sucking gold out of the GE again. Fuck it, man. Fuck it. Make skills go higher than 99. This one's kind of like whatever. I doubt that this would ever happen, but this would be like my solution. Like if I were to make a game, wink wink, if I were to make a game, which I want to, but I would make the skills go higher than 99, because we have already know that everybody is going for there's a bunch of people who are going for 200 million experience, so why not go higher? If you went higher, so if from level 1 to 99 was 1 experience to 200 million, then that power creep example I used before, you could release an item at 80 and release an item at 81, but there would be such an astronomical XP difference between 80 and 81 that would actually be a justified power boost for the item. It would give players, it would extend the game out even further for players. Like, everybody wants to play RuneScape forever, and the biggest reason why I know that is because they make new accounts constantly. Everybody's making constantly new accounts and stuff like that. So why not just make the grind longer? Because that's what we're here for. And if you did that, you could do a million different things. You could have more skills that suck more money out of the economy, that cost more money. Because like the best way, okay, so yeah, I'm just freestyling this one, so this ain't gonna be like that good for like a video, but who cares? But the best way you can actually sink gold out of the system is to siphon it into XP, because it costs GP to create XP, but you don't get XP. You can't convert XP into more GP. So like, there's things like fire making that don't make you any money. They indirectly can make you a little bit of money, but they cost so much money to get that XP up, because you need 99 fire making to get a fire or a max cape. So it's like a prerequisite that people are going to spend money on. It's like, and I'm not saying like to make everything as boring as fire making or whatever, but just by expanding the skills, it would increase the need for players to spend GP, especially like if it was, say, like level 9,999 was the total level and it was like billions and billions of XP to get that high. Players would be spending, like the rich players who would be getting up into those higher levels would be spending an exorbitant amount of gold on supplies to players to get them faster XP rates, kind of like with boosting right now. So it would pull money out of the game faster. Anyway, yeah, this is just this one would be another solution for that. Cap item drops. So you can't really cap the gold that comes into the game as much as you can, though. This is a secret I didn't want to reveal. But like if I were to make a game, I would cap the item drops. So essentially what that means is, say Tebow is an item on the drop table now. I would have in my game server, whatever's tracking the items in the game, I would have a global tracker that would keep track of how many Tebows exist in the game. And then if it was, I would set it to 100, let's say, for instance, just for example. And anybody could go drop those Tebows, and when they hit 100 Tebows, you kill that monster all you want, but it would just never drop a Tebow ever again. So then that would help a lot, because what that does is now there's only 100 Tebows in the game, and now you have to spend a god-awful amount of GP for those items. So they're always going to be valuable. They're never going to go, like, they're only going to go up in value because gold's going to come into the game. So the as long as it's mostly useful, it should keep, there's other variables, but it should keep most of its value because there's a cap on it. So essentially what that means is another like mechanic to flesh this out would be, if a Tebow got deleted from the game, so you died, your item disappeared or whatever, or you used it, you consumed it to create a stronger piece of untradeable gear or something like that, then it would go back into the drop table for that item, and then people could go for it again. But this would help tremendously for retaining bank value and fighting inflation, because you wouldn't have to use the GE to buy these items and delete them from the game. You would just have these items. And yes, I understand that it would create this sort of like rare economy, or to make items really hard for players to get, but that scarcity is also going to make other items more useful, because like if we lived in a world where, like, say it went up to runes, like we're early 04 escape, it went up to rune, the D simi comes out, and that's the only, like, that's the super weapon, and that item is capped. There's only 100 of them in the game. Now the rune scimitar is now more valuable again, because those 100 people are going to have that dragon scimitar, but then the rune scimitar is now your next best in slot. So then people, you know what I mean? It actually allows for item diversity and stuff like that. It just would create a really interesting game environment with having capped items. So this is a good way for money sinks, especially when you get rich in the game. You spend your money on dumb shit like no offense to collectors, but collectors, they collect and they're spending money, and it's not like, to a poor player, it's not a good use of money, but they just want it anyway. So more dumb shit that costs exorbitant amounts of money, so that would give you brag rights, mega rares, whatever. Think the party hats from RuneScape 3, just stuff that you could buy from the game that just deletes all your fucking cash, like for instance, and then you get like a hat that says this is how much this hat is worth, and it was worth all the money you deleted. Like, you know what I mean? And people would do it just to have that hat and be the coolest motherfucker on the block. And that would delete a shit ton of money from the game. Also, I forgot to make this a slide, but start doing the charity events. Let's do those charity events where we could put, I've been waiting for one of those for a long time. The wells where we donate our GP, delete it from the game, and then Jagex donates to a charity. Man, that stuff was so cool. That would delete a lot of gold from the game. This one is make costs more. So Barrow, Super Armor, Churn on, GP Sucker, and make the item suck the GP out of the game. This is like an easy one. Just take every item in the game and 10x it. Barrows cost 10x. Fuck it, man. Fuck them. I don't care. We need the GP out of the game. See what I mean? Like, if you either want inflation or do you want a balanced economy? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just what we got to do. It's just what we got to do. Make costs more. Just 10x everything. Stop making everything so safe. This is a huge one. When I used to play RuneScape, when you die, you just lose everything, and then everybody will be able to scramble for your shit. But now, RuneScape, there's no more death. death mechanics don't mean anything. It's just you lost a little bit of time, you get a little bit frustrated, and then you can just plow right back into whatever activity you're doing. But if you could die and lose your shit, then that's an easy way to sync items out of the game. Sync items and GP. Because like if you go into an instance area or make it to an area that is very difficult to get to, if you just die and you want to go get your shit back, make it really difficult to go get your shit back so that people punish players more, bro. Like, I understand having really hard things with safe minigames like Infernal and stuff like that, because that's just fun stuff too, but make the game dangerous again. Because like, nothing, if you can't lose anything, then nothing has any value. So it's just I know people would probably get rubbed the wrong way hearing that, but that's just the way life is, man. Like, the only reason why things have value is because you can lose it. Like, we're all gonna die one day. That's why our life has any meaning. So that's what I want to end on, and those are kind of all my thoughts about that. I know it was a little bit more jumbled, and I haven't made content for a while, but I've been really busy, and I've been really thinking about how I'm going to attack. I have a lot of data now on how my content is doing and how I've been growing and stuff, so I'm just really trying to think about how I'm going to move forward with everything, and I'm trying to finish a bunch of stuff and a bunch of family stuff. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment, like, subscribe. Check out the links down below. Buy my course, bio7.gg. Give me that affiliate money. I need to get paid. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.